Welcome back to WCTV's only national sports debate show, Plead Your Case. I'm Brock Owens alongside Spencer Frattare and Tyler Zeman, and today we'll be talking MLB playoffs now that the wild card round is in the rear view and who we think will be raising the Commissioner's Trophy. We'll also have an NBA season preview, and with a few tennis greats retiring, we'll debate who the real GOAT is. So come on, sit back and relax, because you know what time it is. It's time to plead your case. A quick and unpredictable round of best-of-3 wildcards just wrapped up, and we're ready to start the divisional round in Major League Baseball. So, fellas, let's talk about these 5-game series coming up. Starting with the AL, we've got the number 3 seed Guardians, number 2 seed New York Yankees. Spencer, we'll start with you.
You know, I'm not going to be biased. I am from Cleveland, but, guys, I'm going to take the Guardians in this game. I like the Yankees. I just don't think they have what it takes. I think this young Guardians team has a really good shot. Oscar Gonzalez, you know, the walk-off hit to send the Guardians to where they are now. And I think the firepower between Gonzalez, Ramirez, Kwan, and all the other Guardians are going to boost them over the Yankees. I just don't see the Yankees beating the Guardians here.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think the Guardians can be a real threat to the Yankees. They have one of the youngest teams in the MLB right now, and their pitching staff and their bullpen has just been on fire. And for a Yankees lineup that can go cold at times, besides Aaron Judge, I think the Yankees could struggle. But with that being said, I think the Yankees will do it in 5 games.
Either team definitely has a good chance to win this. I like the Guardians rotation, and Emmanuel Clase is arguably the best closer this season. But I am going to take the Yankees. When they're playing well, they're possibly the best team in the league. We saw that the first half of the season, and if they could play like that in this series and the rest of the playoffs, they have a good chance at advancing and doing some really good things. So the other AL matchup we have is the number 5 Seattle Mariners against the number 1 seed Houston Astros. Spencer.
Brock, I think this is an easy choice. I'm going with the Astros. I think their pitching rotation is really, really good, and I just don't think the Mariners have the firepower in them. I hate to pick the Astros because of the whole cheating scandal a few years ago, but I just think that they're a better team easily. I got them in 3.
Yeah, as much as I like the hype around the Mariners right now after snapping the 20-year playoff drought and coming back down 8-1 in Game 2, I think the Astros are just too dominant all across the board. It was a great run from Seattle, but I do think they will take the Astros to 5 games. But again, I think the talent will prevail in this matchup.
Yeah, 3 for 3. I'm taking the Astros as well. Now going over to the National League side of things, we have the Phillies and Braves. And Tyler, we'll start with you for the National League side. Phillies, Braves, who you got?
Well, I think this matchup really comes down to the momentum. Both teams came into the playoffs just on fire. The Braves, arguably one of the hottest second-half teams in the MLB. They came down from 10.5 games to take the division over the Mets. I think the Phillies are good, and I think their momentum from beating a very good St. Louis team will help them in this one. But I think they're only going to get 1 game from the Braves, and I think from there, Atlanta will take care of business.
Yeah, I'm going to have to disagree. I'm going to take the Phillies, guys. I think Bryce Harper is going to lead this team to the promised land. I don't know how far he's going to take them, but I have the Phillies over the Braves in the first round. I really like the pitching rotations the Phillies have. And, I mean, it's Bryce Harper. He was in the MVP talks last year. He's been playing real well this year. I don't have it being a short series, though. I do have it in 5. But with that being said, I have the Phillies winning in 5.
That's an interesting pick. The Phillies are a good team, obviously, here in the playoffs, but I have to go with the defending champ Atlanta Braves going to the National League Championship Series. And then who they're going to face is down to an NL West team. It's either going to be the San Diego Padres or the Los Angeles Dodgers, Tyler.
Well, I really like the Dodgers in this series for one reason. In the regular season matchup between the Padres and the Dodgers went 14-5 against the Padres. Historically, San Diego has not been a good playoff team, and they have not been good against the Dodgers. So for that reason, I think the Dodgers will win this one.
Yeah, and I'm going to agree with you, Tyler. I think the Dodgers are going to take this one easily. I like the Padres. I'm excited to see how the Big Three in San Diego plays out next year when everyone's back. You know, they got Juan Soto over the trade this year, but I just don't think they have enough to beat the Dodgers, one of the best teams in baseball right now.
I agree. Without Fernando Tatis, I don't think the Padres have quite enough going for them to beat this loaded Dodgers team. So we're moving on to the Championship League Series. Spencer, you have the Guardians and the Astros. Who do you have going to the World Championship?
Well, it's going to be a close one, guys. I mean, it's right before the World Series, but I'm going to ride with the Guardians. I really like this young team, and I'm not just saying that because I'm from Cleveland. I really like the young duo of Jose Ramirez. He just got his big contract, and Oscar Gonzalez, the Rubber Duck alum. There's a lot of Rubber Duck alum. Most of this Guardians team is from AA and AAA. They were all moved up over time. I've gotten to see a lot of them move up from AA to AAA, now into the Guardians system. I think the Guardians can beat the Astros. I think they're going to take it to 7, and I think the Guardians in Game 7 are going to beat the number 1 team, the Houston Astros.
All right, so you have Guardians, but you don't have them in the Championship Series. You have Yankees versus Astros. Who do you have going to the World Series?
Well, as much as I like the Yankees, I'm going to have to take the Astros. I think we know the New York fan base, they can be very emotional, and I think the Yankees are going to come out with a little bit too much emotion from that 2017 year where the Astros ended up beating the Yankees in the playoffs, knocking them out, and obviously then going on to win the World Series that was revoked. But still, I think with the emotion that's going to come into this matchup, these two teams know each other really well. I'm going to take the Astros just because I think they can handle the pressure. They've handled the cheating scandal, and with that, I think they can handle the Yankees.
Astros are a great team. Personally, I think that pressure that Tyler is talking about is going to help the Yankees. That emotion could get the Yankees out front in the series, and once they're out front, it's going to be hard after they pick up a series victory over Cleveland if they can do that, and now going into and picking up a lead over the Astros. I think they'll finish it off, and they'll head over to the World Series. Then on the National League side of things, Tyler, you have Dodgers, Braves, 1-2 seed. Who's going?
I like the Braves, obviously. They won it all last year. I think they have a good squad all the way around. Depth-wise, I think they're really deep. And again, the bats for the Braves can get really dangerous at times. And that's why I think it's going to be so hard for this Dodgers bullpen and pitching staff to really keep them mellow throughout the entire series. So with that, I'm taking the Braves in 4-2.
All right, so Braves going to the World Series once again is what Tyler has, but you have the top and bottom seed in the National League over there, Spencer. Phillies, Dodgers, who's going World Series?
Well, Brock, Philadelphia as a state, the Eagles are 5-0. The Sixers have one of the best teams in the league for NBA-wise. I would love to see this Phillies team beat the Dodgers, as I think most people would like to see that as well. I'm not really a huge Dodgers fan. I've never liked the Dodgers as a whole. But with that being said, as much as I'd love to see the Phillies win, I think this is an easy game. I think the Phillies are going to get one game off the Dodgers, but I think Dodgers in 5 is the right call here.
I also just have to go the Dodgers. I had the Braves facing them in the championship series, and I just think the Dodgers are too good. I thought they were too good last year too, though, so you never really know. But I don't think the Braves are going to be able to upset them again. I'm taking Dodgers, Yankees World Series for me. So, Spencer, you have Dodgers and you have Guardians. Who's winning and who is the World Series MVP?
Well, Brock Zeman, I'm riding with the Guardians, baby. I'm going to keep riding with them. I ran through for the first round, even through the wild card. Last round, I took the Guardians. I'm going to take the Guardians here yet again. I think, like I said, this is such a young team, and the bats can be explosive at times when they need it. And I think this young, exciting team has a chance to pull off the upset. I will say they would be the underdogs. If the Guardians make it this far and play the Dodgers, they're going to be the underdogs. But I think that there's a slim chance that the Guardians can squeeze out a game in 7. Give me Jose Ramirez as the MVP.
Tyler?
Yeah, and for my World Series matchup, I have the Astros and the Braves. And as much as we like Cinderella stories, Spencer, it doesn't happen too often in the MLB postseason. That's why I've went with a number 1 seed and a number 2 seed. With that, I think the Braves are going to beat the Astros 4-2. I think they jump out early on the Astros. Obviously, Houston, I think, is good enough to win at least 2 games in this series, but overall, the Braves are going to do it back-to-back. It's not going to be easy, but I think they can get it done.
All right, so we have an underdog story. We've got back-to-back for the first time in a couple decades. For me, I have to go with the Dodgers. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I know people don't like the Dodgers, but they're the best team, and I just have to ride with them. 110 wins this season. They have a great rotation. They have a solid bullpen. They have easily the best bats. And I am going to take Julio Urias as the World Series MVP. I think he's going to pitch 2 good games. He might close out a Game 7. I heard they're going to use him out of the bullpen if they need him in these type of situations. He led the National League in ERA. I'm taking Julio Urias to be the World Series MVP and the Dodgers winning the World Series. But that's going to do it for us talking about the MLB postseason. When we come back here on Plead Your Case, we're going to be going to the NFL mini segment, Pick'em, King of the Hill, right here on WCTV.
Welcome back to Plead Your Case's NFL Pick'em segment. We have 2 new contestants on today as our previous king, Spencer Frattare, was dethroned by our new contestant, Colin Rhodes. And before I move on, Browns fans, remember, the United States has 49 states. Ohio never counted. Anyway, Colin, I'm going to start with you because you are the new king. We're going to go to Thursday night, Commanders at Bears. Who you got?
I got the Bears in this one. Chicago has been better overall than the Commanders. And as Ron Rivera said recently, their biggest problem is that quarterback. So not really confident with what Carson Wentz is providing for their offense.
Our new contestant, Megan Barry. Who you got?
I'm going to have to agree with you, Colin, simply because of all the reasons that you just said. And both teams are equally as bad. And Chicago has home field advantage, so I'm going to have to go with the Bears.
Absolutely. Now moving on to the Sunday 1 p.m. games. Our first game we have is Ravens at Giants. Colin?
Yeah, well, the Giants had a really big upset over the Packers last week in London, which I was not expecting at all. I thought the Packers were going to run away with that game. But I think the Ravens are a better team than the Packers. So my pick is for the Ravens to beat the Giants.
Yes. Megan.
My pick is also for the Ravens. Like you said, they ran away with that game. And the only real person that the Ravens have to worry about is Barkley. If they can shut down the Giants' rushing game right from the beginning, they'll win, and I have no doubt that they won't be able to succeed in that.
All right, next game, Jaguars at Colts, I should say. Colin?
Well, both teams have been a little off this year, but overall, the Jaguars have seen a lot more success. They've had more ups than the Colts have had recently, so that's why I pick Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars to beat Matt Ryan and the Colts.
See, I'm going to have to disagree with you there. I'm going to have to go with the Colts. The Jags have already played the Colts this year. They beat them 24-0 on their home turf. And I think this is almost a revenge tour for the Colts, and I think the Jaguars have zero chance of beating the Colts on their home field.
Next up, Patriots at Browns.
I'm going with the Patriots on this one. Patriots shut out the best defense, best offense, I should say. I cannot speak. The best offense in the NFL that the Lions had, and so my take is that the Patriots will shut out the Browns.
See, I'm going to have to disagree with you there again, too. I'm going with the Browns. They just have a better running game, and let's be real, Nick Chubb, he is a beast. I don't care what anybody says. He carries that team, and I just think the Browns have a better chance this week.
Aren't we all done with the Browns?
Yeah, I mean it kills me to say it because obviously I'm wearing a Steelers jersey, but I'm going to have to go with the Browns.
Yes. The next game, Bengals at Saints.
I'm going with the Saints. Saints were really good last week. I said that they were going to lose to the Seahawks, and guess what? They beat the Seahawks. So I'm going to have to give it to the Saints on this one. And the Bengals, they've been hungover from their Super Bowl appearance.
You're right. They have been hungover, but I'm going to have to go with the Bengals. The Bengals have the better quarterback. Joe Burrow is he's the better QB going into this game.
Next up, Bucks at Steelers. Colin.
It's obvious who my favorite team is in the NFL, but I think it's also obvious who's going to win this game. It's the Buccaneers. Steelers are just not it this year.
Yeah, and I agree with you. Wearing the Steelers jersey, as Colin is as well. That's the home team. Got to root for them, but I'm going to have to go with the Bucks here. I'm a realist, and I know the Steelers definitely have no shot.
Fair enough. 49ers at Falcons, Colin.
I have the 49ers on this one. The Falcons, kind of a mediocre team, and so are also the 49ers, but I think the 49ers have looked better overall.
I agree. I'm going to go with the 49ers. There's a lot of big-name players out this week, and I really think that's definitely going to hurt the Falcons at the end of the game. They have Kyle Pitts out. Drake London, their wide receiver, has been hurt, so I feel like that's definitely their downfall, so I'm also going to have to go with the 49ers.
Next game, Jets at Packers.
Well, the Jets have been known for upsetting teams so far this season, but I think the Packers are going to pull out on this upset. Aaron Rodgers, I think, will do much better, and the Jets, they'll keep it close. I'll say that. The Jets will keep it close this game.
I'm going to have to go with the Packers, too. The Packers always seem to show up after a loss, so I really think their fire has been fueled this past week after losing in London to the Giants, so I'm definitely going to have to go with the Packers.
Next, last 1 o'clock game on this one, Vikings at Dolphins.
Well, the Dolphins had a hot start. Tua, a little mixed, but he had some great performances in there, and then he got hurt, and then he got concussed, and Teddy Bridgewater also got a concussion. I think Tua is supposed to come back this week, but even if he is back, I don't think he's going to be 100%. And also, look at the Vikings right now. Kirk Cousins has been really good. They're 4-1 as a team. So I'm picking the Vikings.
I'm going to agree with you. I'm picking the Vikings. I mean, the Dolphins are on their third string QB right now. With Teddy out, he's questionable right now. They don't know whether or not he's going to come back. And Tua's questionable right now, too. I know you said, Colin, he possibly could be coming back from his concussion protocol, but I'm going to have to agree he's not going to be 100% if he does come back.
Moving on to the 4 o'clock games, Panthers at Rams, Colin.
Well, the Panthers just fired their head coach. I think that's a good indicator of where they are right now. So I'm taking the Rams, even though they're also a little hungover from the Super Bowl like the Bengals. I just think the Rams have been doing better than the Panthers, and that's really all you need to win these games.
I agree with you, Colin. I'm going with the Rams here just because firing your coach mid-season definitely is not a good transition for all the players on the team. So it's going to be looking a little rough for the Panthers.
Not good in Pantherville. Moving on to the next game, Cardinals at Seahawks.
Well, the Seahawks, they were really good last week, even in the loss against the Saints. And I think that Geno Smith will just come out again, play a great game. And the Cardinals, they're kind of underperforming, I think. Kyler Murray was great last year, but he sort of struggled this year, and the team also struggling with him.
I'm going to have to go with the Cardinals. I mean, for the Seahawks, Rashad Penny is out. He broke his leg last week, so now they're moving on to a rookie running back. So that's a little scary of a transition right there, and it's almost unpredictable, so I'm definitely going to have to go with the Cardinals this week.
Big game, also at 4 o'clock, the last 4 o'clock game, Bills at Chiefs, Colin.
Let's just start this off by saying this is going to be a great football game. There is no doubt about that. It's another Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes matchup, but I'm going to have to go with the Bills in this one. The Chiefs, they came back from a 17-point lead, which is impressive, but they gave up 17 points against a team that only has one win. You look at the Bills, they also beat a team with one win. That happened to be the Steelers, and the Steelers only put up 3 points in that game. So comparing their last games, I think the Bills have the upper hand.
See, I'm going to have to disagree with you there. I'm going to have to go with the Chiefs. I think Patrick Mahomes is the better quarterback. He is a man playing amongst the boys. He just really moves so well in that pocket and can make those hard passes to make crucial plays for the Chiefs. So I'm going to have to go for the Chiefs.
Moving on to the Sunday night game, my personal favorite game this week, Cowboys at Eagles, Colin.
Well, I know last week I was really high on the Cowboys beating the Rams, and they did. So I was really happy about that so I could get on this show. But I think the Eagles are going to continue their winning streak. And I also think that part of the reason is there's some uncertainty with what the Cowboys are going to do at quarterback this week. Dak Prescott might be returning this week, even though Cooper Rush has been really good. But the Eagles, like I said, they're undefeated. I think they're going to continue that streak because once they're on that streak, once you're hot, it takes a while to cool down.
I definitely agree with you. I think the Eagles are just going to continue this great streak that they're on. But when I was trying to make this decision, I found an interesting statistic. Jalen Hurts has never beaten the Cowboys in his career. Yes, he has a very small career. He's only been a QB in the NFL since 2020, but he's 0-4 for beating the Cowboys, which is a pretty crazy statistic, but I don't think that proves whether or not they're going to win or lose, and I still think Jalen Hurts is going to carry this team, and I'm going to have to go with the Eagles.
All right, moving on to the Monday night game. Broncos at Chargers, Colin.
It's the Chargers, no doubt in my mind, and I think you would agree based on the jersey you're wearing. Justin Herbert has been doing really well, and Russell Wilson is not looking good at all in what we thought would be a team that could be a playoff contender.
I definitely agree. The Chargers have the upper hand, and like you said, Russell Wilson is not playing top tier. He is playing right now with a partially torn lat, which is on his throwing arm. So that's definitely not helping him at all. So I think the Chargers have the upper hand in this game.
Love it. Bolt up, and that's all of our picks right now, and we're going to go back to all the content here on Plead Your Case.
Welcome back to Plead Your Case. Now we're going to be talking about basketball. We're moving to the NBA, a season preview. And Tyler, I'm going to start off with just kind of a general question for you. Who do you think is the most improved team over the offseason for the NBA?
Well, I have to go with the Boston Celtics. I know they didn't acquire really any big names, but they just kind of made the roster better in subtle ways over the offseason. They added Malcolm Brogdon and Danilo Gallinari. They also added Blake Griffin, and I think those are just smart acquisitions for a team that really came undone because of lack of discipline in the NBA Finals. They added another high IQ player in Brogdon who can also handle the ball at times. Gallinari, I know, suffered an injury in the offseason, so he'll probably be out for the entire season. And obviously the issues with the head coach and being suspended, we really have to see how that affects the Boston Celtics. But overall, I think the Celtics have made the best couple acquisitions in this offseason.
Tyler, I hate to do this, but I'm going to unfortunately disagree with you super strongly. I don't think that's the right call at all. This Celtics team is not going to be as good this year. They'll make the playoffs, but I just can't see them doing well. Jaylen Brown had his little mishap over the offseason where he thought he was going to get traded, and that messes with the players' emotions. Players don't like that stuff. It was with the KD stuff with the Nets, where there was that whole trade debacle over the summer. The head coach being gone now is going to hit them really, really hard. He was the one who drew up the plays. He got them to where they were last year in the finals. As much as I like to take the Cavs as my most improved team, I'm also a Timberwolves fan, and I got to go with the Timberwolves. The Rudy Gobert trade was huge. Karl Anthony Towns no longer has to play as a center. And he's the third best center in the league, but he is not a center. He cannot play in the paint. It hurts me to say that, but he sucks in the paint. He's awful. Atrocious, if you will. But that is why they got Gobert. They got Gobert to stay down low, guard guards down in the paint, because to be honest, Cat isn't the greatest defender either. He's the best shooting big of all time. He can now play the 4 spot freely. He can shoot whenever he wants. And now you have Rudy Gobert down low with the defensive side and the rebounding side of the ball.
See, the only problem, though, with the trade for me in the Timberwolves case is they really shortened the window to win a title now. It's only they only have 2 to 3 years, and with the roster that they have right now, I can't say that they are definitively in that top tier in the Eastern or in the Western side of the conference. So it's just tough because you give up all that draft capital and you give up a lot of your future for a guy who is going to give you a chance at a title, but you only have a limited time to do it.
And I think they have the time. I think there is time. I think they can do it this year. I have them finishing in the number 2 spot this year. As dumb as that may sound, I think they can do it. They would have beat the Grizzlies last year if they had Rudy Gobert. And the only really hurtful thing they're giving away is Mr. 94 feet. Man, I hated to see Pat Bev go, and now I'm going to hate playing against him because of who he is on the court. He's a great defensive player, but giving away Malik Beasley, who got suspended 2 years ago and last year really didn't put up much production, I think this Gobert trade is going to make this Timberwolves team a really, really good contender for this year's playoff run.
I actually have to agree with Spencer on both accounts. I would say not that the Celtics didn't make good moves, to your point, Tyler, but I do think with the whole head coach thing, and they were already in the finals. I don't know that I'm going to take them to go back to the finals again. So I don't know that I would call the Celtics necessarily improved, even though their roster looks pretty solid on paper. I do like the Gobert trade, though. You did make a good point once again with saying that they gave up a good bit of draft capital and all that kind of thing. But Karl Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert down low is going to be very difficult to stop, along with D'Angelo Russell at the guard position. So it's going to be a really solid roster for this Timberwolves team. But for me, I have to go, and this is going to sound like a weird pick, but based on their record last year, who I think is going to be much better is the Lakers. I don't think they're going to finish with 33, 49, 11th in the West, not even get a play-in. They're easily going to make a play-in, I think. They might even finish high enough that they don't have to play in, which would be obviously very ideal. So I think the Lakers, they added Patrick Beverley, who's someone that Spencer was talking about. LeBron and AD and Russell Westbrook are back, and if Westbrook can play a little better than he did last year, we'll see how the Lakers do this upcoming year. Now, with that being said, who do you guys think is going to be the number one seed headed into the playoffs on both sides? Tyler.
For the West, for me, it's pretty simple. I think the Golden State Warriors will be that number one seed. Again, I know there's been a lot of off-season drama just in the past couple of weeks, but here's the deal. They haven't had the success that they've had in the past without the veteran leadership that they have on that team. These guys, I know Draymond is stepping away and he'll be missing practices and stuff, but I think the chemistry will still be there. They're grown men. They're professional athletes. Things like this happen in the heat of the moment, and I think they can all put it past them. And come the end of the season, if everything goes right, I think the Warriors can really be a threat to win the whole thing. For the East, though, I'm going to have to take the Brooklyn Nets. Again, I know there's been a lot of off-season drama, but it's just the fact that they're professionals. They know how to get down to business whenever basketball starts picking up. So for that reason, again, I'm taking the Nets.
I have two completely different teams, Tyler. The Nets will not be good this year. They weren't good last year. Ben Simmons is not good. I want to get that out there. I don't care how many problems he creates, back problems, mental health problems. Those may be serious, but it is unacceptable to sit a season like that. And I think it's a terrible take that the Nets are going to get the number one seed. Sure, KD and Kyrie are good, but Ben Simmons will never, ever be good. He was okay when he first got into the league. He somehow won Rookie of the Year. I still don't think he deserved that. My number one team in the East is going to sound kind of generic. I think it's going to be the Milwaukee Bucks. For one word only, and it's the Greek Freak. The Milwaukee Bucks have such a good core around Giannis. They have Middleton. They have Drew Holiday, who was a really close runner in the Defensive Player of the Year last year. I just think the big three of them, it's just run so well around Giannis. In the West, the Warriors, there's been off-season drama all year so far. Like you said, mentioned perfectly, Draymond's going to step away from the team. That's going to hurt. He's a leader. I will never, ever root for the Warriors as a kid from Cleveland. And I was going to originally go with the Timberwolves at the number one spot, but I'm going to take the Clippers. I think the Clippers are so solid this year. Kawhi is back from an injury. Paul George will be healthy. And now you have the veteran point guard of John Wall, who is still a very, very solid point guard. If you don't think John Wall's good, you don't watch basketball. He is an amazing talent. He averaged 20 points a game on the Rockets in the few games he played, and with the Wizards, he was very special. So I think if that elite trio, that big three in L.A., the Clippers side of L.A., can perform well, I think they could secure a number one spot.
All right, quickly, fellas, let's move into the playoffs. Who do you think's making and winning the finals, Tyler?
Well, out of the West, I'm again going to have to go with the Warriors. I think they're just the best team in the West right now, and with all the playoff experience that they have, the leadership, I think they can put all the drama again behind them and move forward when the playoff comes. But I'm going to have to go with one of Spencer's favorite picks in the East. I think the Milwaukee Bucks will be in the finals representing the East. I know I picked the Brooklyn Nets in the regular season, but again, I just think that I think when it comes down to it, I think without Ben Simmons not playing well and with KD, again, what he's been doing in the offseason, I think it's going to hurt them, and I think it's really going to put a big target on their back come playoff time, and that's why they're not going to make it. So for that reason, I'm picking the Bucks.
A little bit of a switch up here. I'm going to go for the West. I'm going with the Lakers. I'm not a huge LeBron guy. I'm not going to sit here and talk about LeBron, but I am never going to bet against LeBron. He now has a defensive point guard who is special at what he does with Pat Bev. Russell Westbrook is good. I'm tired of hearing all the drama around him. He is a very good point guard. If you think otherwise, you don't know basketball. Give me the Lakers at the number 1 spot. And in the East, this might come as a surprise, give me the Cavaliers. This young team, Garland is such a good point guard. I hated giving up Sexton. You guys might be laughing, but the Cavs are going to be special this year with Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell, one of the best shooting guards in the league. I got him at the number 2 spot. Unfortunately, Devin Booker's a little bit better than him, but I love the Cleveland Cavaliers. I love that they got Donovan Mitchell, and I think with Garland, Mitchell, Mobley, and Allen, that huge big 4 in their starting lineup could get them to the finals.
They could get them to the finals. The Cavs are a good team. They made the playoffs last year, and they have a solid roster. For me, I have to go with, I'm going to agree with Tyler. I'm going to go with the Warriors by the end of the year. I think they're going to put it all together, and I don't, like Spencer said, he doesn't bet against LeBron. I really don't either, but I also don't bet against Steph Curry. He's way too good, and I think by the end of the year, he's going to put it together. And in the East, I'm going to say the Bucks are going to make it with the Warriors winning it. So that's all the time we have for NBA. When we come back, we're going to be talking about a little bit of tennis and who is the actual GOAT.
Have you ever been to the Everly Library? If not, you should, because it's great. They have books of all different genres: history, biography, fiction. Try The Evolution of Life, Life of Pi, or Jurassic Park. So what if books aren't your thing? Try movies like Frozen, or TV shows like Lost. Books and DVDs aren't the only thing, though. Take a trip to the 2nd floor. Welcome to the Writing Center. These tutors will tell you everything you need to know about writing a paper, and they'll help revise your essays. Now let's head back down. Behold, the Knox Learning Center. Need to print something out 5 minutes before your next class because you procrastinated? No problem. You can also print off pictures of dogs. Because, well, you can. So grab your homework, laptop, and textbook, and study diligently. Bring your lunch too. Actually, you can't. That's illegal. Now you know the Everly Library. Stop by anytime. Seriously, it's open all week.
Welcome back to Plead Your Case. And tennis is not a sport you see talk about a lot, but with 2 of the greatest of all time retiring right around the same time in Serena Williams and Roger Federer, why not? Give it a whirl. All right, so who is the greatest tennis player of all time? There's a lot of people we can make an argument for, but starting with you, Spencer, do you think it's Serena or Roger, or do you think it's someone else?
Brock, I'm actually going to go with Federer. I'm going to go with the Switzerland native, the Fed Express. I just learned that was his nickname an hour ago. I had to do some research on these guys, but give me Roger Federer, and here's why. He's got 8 Wimbledon titles, 5 U.S. Open titles, 6 Australian Open titles, and 1 French title. That adds up to 20 Grand Slam titles, and those are the most important titles in tennis. Those are what most tennis players strive to be at. Those are what most tennis players strive to get to, and he's got 20 wins of them. It's an easy debate. I mean, there's plenty of guys and girls. I mean, like you mentioned, Serena Williams. There's plenty of other people that can be in this, but I think it's Roger Federer.
Yeah, I'm actually going to have to go with Rafael Nadal. I do like Federer, but Nadal, he just really stands out to me for this reason. Out of all the guys that we are probably going to discuss in this segment, he's one of the only people with an Olympic gold medal, and for that reason, this is why I got to take him. Overall, he has 92 career titles. He has 22 Grand Slam single titles, 2 from Australia, 14 from the French Open, 4 from the U.S. Open, and 2 from Wimbledon. That 14 from the French Open is a record, and that 14th he just won earlier this year in 2002. So He's played 21 years professionally. That's more than I've been alive, which is very impressive. And he's still playing at a very high level, which for me, again, it just makes it even more impressive.
Brock, I'm going to stop you before you do anything. Tyler did not do his research. The Fed Express does have a gold medal. Let's not forget that. 2008 Beijing Olympics, it was a duo match. He does have his gold medal. So I had to throw that in there. Federer does have a gold medal. Nadal is not the only one with a gold medal of the GOATs.
Was it a doubles or
It was a
singles?
doubles match, but it was still a gold medal.
See, but Nadal's is a singles gold medal from the same Olympics in 2008. And yeah, you need two great players in order to win a gold medal. But when you just believe in yourself and you're able to trust in yourself and you're able to go out there and win it all on your own, I think it's even more impressive.
But those two guys believed in each other to win a gold medal. So I think it's more impressive that two guys were able to believe in each other, and these are two guys that play against each other, or did play against each other, I'll say, and they were able to come together and play together and win a duos match and get the gold together.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with. I'm not discrediting his duos gold medal, but I just think it's a lot more. I think it just stands out a lot more when you win it by yourself.
Both of those are great tennis players all time. And by the way, we're talking about both men and women who is the GOAT. So I'm going to take a little bit of a different route here. I'm taking someone who also has a singles gold medal. And I'm going all the way back to the 80s with her prime. It's Steffi Graf, who, number one, has held the number one ranking for 377 total weeks, which is more than any man or woman. That's the highest of anyone. She has won at least 3 of the 4 major titles in 5 years. 5 times. She's won 3 or more of the 4 major titles every year, which has only been done by Margaret Court otherwise. So Margaret Court's the only other person to do that. And in 1988, Steffi Graf won all 4, which has only been done 2 other times, which was Margaret Court and Maureen Colin Brinkler, but that's just from women. The only other, or what makes Steffi Graf special rather, is she is the only male or female player to win a Golden Slam in a calendar year, which is all 4 majors and a gold medal. She won that in 1 year, 1988. She won all 4 majors and a gold medal, which has not been done by any other player, man or woman. And she was voted the greatest female tennis player of the 20th century by AP. And when Serena Williams was asked who the greatest tennis players are of all time, she said Steffi Graf, along with Roger Federer, actually.
So Serena Williams takes my side, and I think to further that, he's got second most in titles. He's got the most tour final titles. He's 3rd in most Grand Slam titles. He's got an 81.9% win rate. This guy does not lose. He rarely loses. His overall record is 1,245 and 275. So like I said, he rarely loses. He's 13-5 in the Olympics. And versus top 5 opponents, he's 104 and 75. I just don't think it's a huge debate. You can make the debate, but like I said, I think he's the GOAT. And without a debate, I'm going to say.
I mean, I really don't think there is a wrong pick in this scenario, but for me, it's just gotta be Nadal. How he's played at such a high level throughout his entirety of his career. It's, again, just super impressive, and it's something that not too many people can mimic, being pretty much the standard at every single tournament he has gone to. He's been the guy with the target on his back. He's been the guy to beat.
Well, I think one thing we can all agree on is that all of these are great players. But sadly, that's all the time we have today. But thanks for tuning in to Plead Your Case. And make sure to tune in to other content here on WCTV's YouTube channel. For Tyler, Spencer, and our producer, Logan Lepiscopo, have a good rest of your day.
This has been a production of Waynesburg Community Television.